Mr. Levine, if she had apparent authority to sell those cards, because she said they were her cards, she could sell them, then these people, right off the bat, would be out of luck. But in this case, Mr. Levine, you were on notice that despite the fact that she had the apparent authority to sell the cards because they were in her possession, they actually belonged to her husband. So let's get on to within the hour, Mr. Costa shows up at your store and says to you, those are my cards. My wife had no authority to sell them. At that point, you had the responsibility, sir, of returning the cards to him. And please, Mr. Levine, don't try to tell me that within the hour you went out and sold the cards, or any of them, because I won't believe you. Do you understand? And if you do tell me that, you're not going to like my response. So go ahead. Did you sell any of the cards within the hour?
I had an offer to have those cards sold within the hour, yes. Within 5 minutes, actually.
Now, you did not, in fact, sell them within that 5-minute period or the hour period. You may have gotten an offer, but they were still in your possession. So at that point, you had the obligation, I'm making this determination now, to return the cards to the rightful owner and say, this is an unfortunate mistake, that's it. So where are the cards now?
I sold the cards.
How much did you sell his cards for?
$600.
How many did you sell for $600?
I sold all of them.
You sold the entire collection for $600?
Yes.
To whom?
To another card dealer.
Mm-hmm. Now, Mr. Costa, how did you know the value of these cards?
In 1992, my cousin gave me Beckett's magazine, and Beckett's is a pretty accurate magazine for the determining the value of cards.
And give me some idea, to the best of your recollection, sir, what the value of the cards were.
Some of the better cards.
Altogether?
Total worth was about 57, the way I calculated it. All the cards.
Okay. Did you sell the entire collection of cards?
I sold everything but one card.
Okay. And you said you brought these cards up from the basement.
They were in the garage.
The cards were in the garage?
Right.
In what?
In a box about this size.
In a cardboard box?
Mm-hmm.
You're telling me that in 1992, you valued a collection at almost $6,000. And from 1992 to 1997, you kept this $6,000 investment in a garage, in a paper box, not a metal box, not a safe, not put them up in your bedroom, up above, your shoes.
Yeah.
You left them in a garage.
That's correct.
Yeah,
No, they went on.
Mr. Costa, I find that hard to believe, because I have to come up with a monetary amount that this man has to pay you because he did the wrong thing. And Mr. Levine, you did the wrong thing, sir. You did the wrong thing because you had knowledge, you were on notice that the cards did not belong to this lady, that they belonged to her husband. So that does away with the theory of apparent authority to sell the cards. He came to you within the hour. So the right thing for you to do would have been to return the cards. You didn't do that.
The courtroom in Denver, Colorado was packed, shoulder to shoulder, breath held, eyes locked on one man, Tony Bruss, a poised black man in his mid-30s. Calm, still, focused, he stood beside his attorney. Accused of disorderly conduct, accused by a cop known for bending the truth until it snapped. Officer Tyler, mid-40s, sharp voice, cold stare, a reputation for exaggeration, a reputation for pushing defendants into guilty pleas, a reputation everyone whispered about, but nobody confronted until today. She stood tall, hands folded, voice steady. She told the judge Tony shoved her. She said he refused commands. She said he instigated the confrontation. She lied with confidence, and she smirked at Tony as she spoke. That smirk told the whole courtroom one thing. She had done this before. She expected another easy win, another disorderly suspect locked into a plea deal, another victory in her personal record book. But Tony didn't blink, didn't sweat, didn't break. He studied her, every word, every gesture, every false detail. The judge finally asked, "Mr. Bruss, Do you wish to cross-examine? Tony stepped forward. Calm, controlled, dangerous. The room shifted. Everyone felt it. He didn't look like a scared defendant. He looked like someone who had been waiting for this moment. And then he said the words that changed everything. Officer Tyler, how long have you worked in law enforcement? She answered quickly. Confidence. He nodded once. And you're trained to write accurate reports? Yes. You're trained to de-escalate? Yes. Trained to identify threats? Yes. The courtroom grew still. Colder. Sharper. Tony leaned forward slightly. So you should have recognized me. Tyler blinked, confused. Recognize you? From where? Tony didn't answer her. He turned to the judge, reached into his briefcase, pulled out a black federal folder. He placed it on the stand. I opened it. Inside was his badge, his federal certification, his real title. Special Investigations Officer, Police Directorate of Civil Rights, Accountability and Oversight, a national investigator. And Tyler had lied about him under oath. The courtroom cracked open. Gasps. Whispers. Panic. The judge slammed her gavel. Recess. Now. But the damage was done. Internal Affairs officers were already waiting outside. They were alerted the moment Tony's credentials surfaced. Minutes later, they seized her, right in front of everyone. Tyler screamed. This isn't fair. Tony stepped toward her, voice low, even. You're right. What you did to me, you've done to others. Today, that ends. That was the moment the story really began. The moment the mask fell. The moment a single lie exposed years of abuse. And she slipped in the worst possible place. Subscribe and share if you want more true crime stories like this. Because this one only gets darker from here. The courtroom explosion was dramatic, but the confrontation that caused it was worse. It happened 2 months earlier. A cold Thursday night. Downtown Denver. Light traffic. Quiet streets. Tony was off duty. No badge. No jacket. Just his car. Just the road. Just a man heading home after a 12-hour shift reviewing civil rights abuse cases. He stopped at a yellow light. Rolled forward. Turned right. Nothing unusual. But Officer Tyler was sitting in her cruiser half a block back. Engine running. Waiting for something to do. She saw his car. Saw the turn. Saw an opportunity. Her light snapped on. Siren blipped. She pulled him over. Tony didn't panic. Didn't argue. Didn't reach for anything. Hands on the wheel. Window down. Tyler approached with a swagger. One hand on her holster. One hand on her flashlight. She shined it directly in his face. You know why I stopped you? Tony stayed calm. No, ma'am. You ran a red. It was yellow. She stepped closer. Flashlight inches from his eyes. Are you arguing with me? No, ma'am. Just clarifying. She didn't like that. Not at all. People like Tyler hated calmness. Hated control. They needed chaos. They needed obedience. They needed fear. And Tony wasn't afraid. Step out of the vehicle, she ordered. Is there a reason? Her voice sharpened. Step out. Now. He stepped out slowly. Hands visible. Movements clear. She shoved him against the side of his own car. Hard. Are you resisting? She barked. He wasn't resisting. He was barely breathing. Another officer arrived. A rookie. Unsure. Already writing notes of what she said. Copying her words like scripture. Tyler claimed he tensed his arms. Claimed he tried to pull away. Claimed she feared he might reach for a weapon. None of it was true. No body cam footage supported her because her body cam had been malfunctioning. Again, later, Tony learned it was a fourth malfunction that month. But at that moment, he didn't reveal who he was. Not yet. Revealing his badge before a report was filed would complicate the investigation, would tamper the data. He needed her report, written freely, written falsely, written in her words. He needed the lie, because the lie was evidence. She cuffed him, sat him on the curb, called him combative, called him uncooperative, called him a threat. Cars passed. People stared. Phones recorded from across the street. And Tyler smirked. The same smirk she wore in courtroom. That smirk told Tony something vital. This wasn't a mistake. This was a pattern. And he was going to break it. Subscribe and share, because we'll expose what Tyler never wanted anyone to see. The week after the arrest, Tony filed an internal request for Tyler's disciplinary history. He didn't reveal his position yet. Didn't tell anyone who he was. He wanted clean data, not curated, not sanitized, not pre-edited. He got the files 3 days later. 400 pages. 400. Tony sat at his desk, sipped cold coffee, and opened the first page. His jaw tightened. Misconduct reports. Body cam violations. Evidence mishandling. Excessive force complaints. Almost all marked and no action taken. Insufficient evidence. Officer exonerated. Patterns. Dates. Correlations. All pointing to one truth. Tyler wasn't unlucky. She wasn't inexperienced. She wasn't misunderstood. She was protected. Each complaint had the same words. Citizens displayed aggressive behavior. Suspect escalated the situation. Officer acted in accordance with training. The language never changed. It was copy-paste policing. One complaint hit Tony like a punch. I am a 19-year-old college student, pulled over for a broken taillight. The taillight wasn't broken. The report claimed he attempted to flee. Body cam malfunction. Charge dismissed. Case closed. The family was devastated. Another case. A mother in her 40s. Stopped outside a grocery store. Tyler claimed she matched the description. Handcuffed her in front of her kids. The report said she raised her voice. Case closed. Another. And another. Dozens. Tony leaned back in his chair. The room felt heavy. Quiet. Cold. He had seen corrupt officers before. Investigated them. Suspended them. Testified against them. But Tyler was different. She didn't just break rules. She built a career on breaking them. Her reports were polished. Her language was controlled. Her lies were rehearsed. And she targeted people who never stood a chance. People with no badge, no connections, no power, until she targeted the wrong one. Tony closed the file, sat in silence. He knew what had to happen. He had to let her think she could win. Had to let her push the narrative. Had to let her build the lie high enough to collapse under its own weight. And that collapse had to happen publicly. In court, in front of the judge, in front of her peers, in front of everyone who looked away while she ruined lives. Subscribe and share, because we'll reveal the internal investigation that nearly blew up the entire department. Internal affairs agents arrived at dawn. They came in quietly. Plain clothes, neutral expressions. 4th floor briefing room. Tony waited for them. Showed his badge. Showed his clearance. Showed the files. They listened, silent, focused. Then the oldest agent spoke. She's untouchable. Her captain protects her. Tony nodded. I know. The room felt tense. Everyone knew departments like this. Everyone knew officers like her. Everyone knew captains who shielded them. IA pulled her file on their system. More complaints appeared. Ones Tony hadn't even seen. 31 excessive force reports. 16 body cam failures. 8 civilian injuries. For lawsuits settled quietly. Not a single suspension. The youngest agent whispered, "This is bad." Tony leaned forward. It's worse, because she knows how to hide her tracks. They looked through patterns. Shift schedules. Supervisor notes. Backup officer reports. Tyler always called back late. Always wrote the first draft of every incident. Always blamed the same types of behavior. Citizens became aggressive. Citizen pulled away. Citizen escalation. Always vague. Always useful. Always enough to justify force. But this time, she chose the wrong target. Tony showed them the footage from nearby stores. Security cameras. Traffic cams. Private dash cams. All captured the moment she pulled him over. Captured her pushing him. Captured her starting the escalation. Captured the truth. One IA agent looked shocked. She didn't know who you were? Tony shook his head. She never asked. They looked at each other. They knew what this meant. This wasn't just misconduct. This was systemic, enabled, shielded, and exposing her meant exposing the people who protected her. But Tony insisted, I want the courtroom, not a quiet suspension, a public record. I exchanged glances. This was risky, explosive, controversial, but Tony was right. This had to happen the right way, publicly, legally, documented. And the judge overseeing the case? She had a reputation for fairness. Zero tolerance for deceit. Zero tolerance for dirty policing. The perfect stage. I asked Tony, are you ready for fallout? He nodded once. I've been ready since the night she pushed me. Subscribe and share, because this uncovers a confrontation that blew open the department's biggest secret. 2 days before the courtroom hearing, Tyler's captain summoned her. Captain Reese. Broad shoulders, white hair, old school cop energy, 30 years on the force. He closed the office door. Is there anything I should know about this case? Tyler shook her head. Firm. Confidence. No. He resisted. He was aggressive. Standard disorderly conduct. Reese paused, stared at her. You sure? Yes. He exhaled. Long, slow. Good. Because the guy you arrested, Internal Affairs asked about him. She froze. Just a flicker. But Reese saw it. Why would they ask? She said. I don't know, Reese lied. But he did know. He knew exactly why. IA agents had questioned him for 2 hours about her. Her reports, her patterns, her behavior, her body cam issues. Questions he dodged, deflected, ignored. Because if she went down, so did he? The captain leaned closer. This hearing needs to go cleanly. Understand? She nodded, but her heartbeat quickened. Her chest tightened. Because something felt wrong. Something felt off. She had arrested dozens like Tony. People who looked like they might fight. People who didn't fight. People who got labeled aggressive anyway. But something about him, his calmness, his steady breathing, his silence. He never raised his voice. Never cursed, never argued. Most innocent people got loud, angry, frustrated, but he didn't. He just watched her, and now was asking questions. Captain, is there something you're not telling me? Reese looked at her, eyes cold. You better hope there's nothing you're not telling me. She swallowed, hard. For the first time in years, fear spread in her chest, because she wasn't dealing with a typical defendant. She was dealing with someone prepared, someone patient, someone who let her build a lie tall enough to crush her. And she didn't know it yet, but Tony already had the final piece. A witness. The rookie officer who backed her story. He cracked. He panicked. He told IA that Tyler instructed him on what to write. The walls were closing in. Subscribe and share, because this is where the entire room explodes. Recess ended. The judge returned. The gallery quieted. Tyler sat stiff, pale, hands trembling. Tony stood, slow, confidence, prepared. The judge spoke. Officer Tyler, you are now under review for possible perjury. Internal Affairs is present. Gasps filled the room. Tyler's eyes widened. What? Perjury? For what? Tony stepped forward, voice calm, measured, for lying about me, under oath, in your report. She shook her head violently. This is a setup. But then the doors opened. 2 Internal Affairs officers entered, followed by the rookie, the same rookie who backed her story days earlier. He wouldn't look at her. Tyler slammed her fist on the table. You little coward. You said we were aligned. The judge pounded her gavel. Officer Tyler, control yourself. Tony opened her report. Read her words out loud. The suspect became combative. The suspect pulled away. The suspect refused commands. He closed the file. Your words. Tyler stood up. I don't care who he is. He resisted. He pushed me. Tony turned to the judge. I'd like to present video evidence. The judge nodded. Proceed. Tony played the footage. The store camera. The street camera. The private dash cam. Everything. It showed Tyler initiating contact, shoving Tony, cuffing him without cause, escalating the situation from the first second. The courtroom erupted. Tyler stumbled backward. No, this is edited. This is fake. The IA officer stepped forward. It's authenticated. And your body cam failure contradicts your own maintenance logs. Tyler's face was drained of color. Captain Reese stood up in the gallery, sweating, panicked. The judge spoke slowly. Officer Tyler, you're under arrest for perjury, falsifying reports, and abuse of authority. Tyler screamed, "No, you can't do this. Everyone lies. Everyone writes their reports this way. I just do what the department expects." Silence. Absolute silence. Because everyone heard what she said, especially the captain. I turned toward him. "Captain Reese, we need you to come with us." He collapsed into his seat. Tyler was handcuffed, pulled toward the exit, still shouting, still blaming everyone but herself. "This isn't fair. He tricked me. He set me up." Tony walked toward her. Not close, just enough for her to hear. "You set yourself up. You've always set yourself up." She froze, eyes wide, terrified. Tony continued. "And everything you did to them, every lie, every shove, every false report, every ruined life, it ends today." Tyler was dragged out of the courtroom, still screaming, still fighting. Her captain followed, silent, broken. The gallery sat stunned. Tony didn't celebrate. He didn't smile. He didn't gloat. He simply picked up his folder. I closed it, turned toward the judge. "Your Honor, I'd like my record cleared." The judge nodded immediately. "Consider it done. And thank you for exposing what others refuse to see." As Tony walked out, journalists swarmed him, cameras flashing, mics raised. "Are you a federal agent? Did you plan this confrontation? Is the department under investigation now?" Tony answered one thing. "I didn't expose her. She exposed herself. I just made sure everyone saw it." He walked to the steps outside the courthouse. Cold wind, big sky, city noise rising around him. Justice didn't just find her. Justice invited the entire city to watch.